For the second time in his presidency, Donald Trump has authorized a military strike against Syria in response to the Assad regime's apparent use of chemical weapons on its citizens 1 week ago. Last night, skies over the capital, Damascus, lit up as U.S., British, and French warplanes launched airstrikes against suspected chemical weapons research and storage facilities.
The operation was twice the size of the one launched a year ago against a Syrian airfield. President Trump announced the attacks from the White House late last night. He described Syrian President Bashar al-Assad as a monster. Mr. Trump also had a message for two of Syria's biggest supporters.
To Iran and to Russia, I ask, what kind of a nation wants to be associated with the mass murder of innocent men, women, and children?
Mr. Trump also said deterring the use of chemical weapons is vital to national security. Seth Doan is the only U.S. network correspondent in Syria, but our coverage will begin this morning with David Martin live at the Pentagon. David, good morning.
Good morning. This strike came after a week of speculation about what President Trump would do in response to last Saturday's chemical attack. It's the second time he has retaliated against Syria for its use of chemical weapons. Only this time, the U.S. did not fight alone.
British jets could be seen taking off from the island of Cyprus at the beginning of a raid in which the U.S. and its allies fired more than 120 precision-guided weapons.
Tonight, France, the United Kingdom, and the United States took decisive action to strike the Syrian chemical weapons infrastructure.
With British and French officers at his side, Defense Secretary Mattis said the strikes were a one-time shot in retaliation for last weekend's chemical attack on civilians in a suburb of Damascus. Long-range missiles were fired from ships, submarines, and aircraft at targets in the Syrian capital of Damascus and near the city of Homs.
Important infrastructure was destroyed, which will result in a setback for the Syrian regime. They will lose years of research and development data, specialized equipment, and expensive chemical weapons precursors.
Joint Chiefs Chairman General Joseph Dunford described the targets.
The first target was a scientific research center located in the greater Damascus area. This military facility was a Syrian center for the research, development, production, and testing of chemical and biological warfare technology.
Dunford said the missiles also struck targets where the ingredients for the chemical weapons were stored and mixed.
The second target was a chemical weapons storage facility west of Homs. We assessed that this was the primary location of Syrian sarin and precursor production equipment. The third target, which was in the vicinity of the second target, contained both a chemical weapons equipment storage facility and an important command post.
Dunford said the targets were chosen to minimize civilian casualties and to avoid hitting Russian forces based in Syria. The Russians were not given any specific warning that a strike was coming. The Russian ambassador to the U.S. condemned the strikes, saying, "We warned that such actions will not be left without consequences."
A U.S. official says all aircraft returned safely to their bases. Intelligence analysts are still examining reconnaissance photos to determine whether the targets were completely destroyed. Rena?
David Martin at the Pentagon. David, thank you.